Major economic developments that will change our life. Hello, I'm Charlie Class. Tonight that's the focus of our show. Michael Killen is working on 15 major areas that will change our life. There's no doubt whatsoever that we'll all be affected by these things. I'm going to bring Michael on camera. We're going to talk about some of the work that he's doing. He has a lot more to do, but let's get started. Michael, good to have you again.
Thank you, Charlie, for the opportunity.
You're welcome. The first thing I want to talk about, and I think this is really exciting, you have been approached by certain people in the state of California, the Capitol building, the governor's office area, about putting your major painting up there, the sustainability. And we have right behind us a 1/2 size view of sustainability. It's become our backdrop.
It's a lot bigger than twice this size. So this is, I think, 10 feet. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, the other's 24 feet, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite big.
So, and who knows where it's going to go from there. It may go clear to Washington, D.C. We'll see where that goes. But I think the exciting thing is, in the past number of months, your development regarding major issues and areas, both economic and other areas, you almost have intuitively started to pick up and sense what to paint, because these are major issues and how to put it down on canvas. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, when I started making paintings such as The Beginning After the End, and I did that painting in 2007, I decided to make that painting because I had a sense that maybe civilization or our society was heading for possibly a breakdown or even a collapse, okay? So that feeling motivated me to make a 6-foot, 5-foot painting called The Beginning After the End. And then I made some on climate change because I had a feeling that climate change was real and it would have a great impact on the economies around the world and the people around the world. And I think what is happening now is I've caught the attention of powerful academics, national security people, military people, and it turns out that the 15 or many of the items on my 15 list are on other people's lists. And they have come to certain conclusions about where we are going and the challenges and the stresses and opportunities that I have, but they came to these conclusions with their studies, their intellect, and I came to a lot of them with just my intuitiveness.
What we've got on the set, in addition to the, I call it miniaturized version, are 4 other paintings, 3 of which I've never seen. You know, I've been doing this, so why don't we just pick up one of them? We can have the director tell us which one pick up one on camera here and take a look at it, and you can explain it.
All right.
So let's go ahead and pull one of these paintings in, whichever one that the director would be interested in picking up.
So I think they're heading toward one behind me. Okay, the one behind my head right now is called The End of the Internal Combustion Engine.
Good riddance.
Yes, and I just thought about what's happening to the future of the production of oil. You know, it's been going like this for as long as all of us can remember, but the great analysts say there's a finite amount of oil in the ground, on the crust, and we are now approaching having used up half of the oil on the crust. And yes, there's more oil there, but it's getting more and more expensive. We're heading to what's known as peak oil production, and we're going to get there in a few years, not many. We're going to stay flat, and then all of a sudden production of world oil is going to start to go down, and we're entering the world of scarce oil and super rising prices.
So you're not just talking what we produce here or what's coming out of Alaska. You're talking the worldwide.
Worldwide. You know, you got to go down 1,000 feet to get oil now in the ocean. Soon you're going to have to go down 2,000 feet, and it becomes prohibitively difficult and expensive. So I decided, well, the internal combustion engine is a very physical thing that many people can relate to, especially people who in the vehicle business, okay? And I'm just sending a signal to them that they better start recognizing oil is going to start to be less plentiful, and it's going to hurt their business, and they better start reacting to that or acting to it before they have to react.
Okay. I'm going to say tweet, tweet, tweet.
That's the painting right over here.
Okay.
And it's a brown painting, and it has a bird, a dove, it has some long yellow things. Tweet, tweet, tweet after Picasso. Now, I made that painting because if you think about it, social media is on everyone's mind. You turn on PBS, Fox, CNN, they're always talking about, well, follow us on Twitter or Facebook or something else. And every business in the world is thinking about, and many are doing something about them. So social media is one of the developments of our time. Fundamentally what it does, it's really connecting people together with things, things we might want to buy or whatever, or show people, and it's connecting them with ideas as well. I painted this painting because social media is so important, and I'm just hoping we use it in a positive way as our civilization goes forward and starts running into the problems of peak oil and decreasing oil and some other problems. We use the social media to help us mitigate some of the challenges and threats we're facing.
Well, I could spend 10 minutes on that, but why don't we pick up another one?
Sure.
And so here we are.
I just made this one. I finished it last night.
It's still dry, the wet's still wet.
And in the United States, for example, we are discussing a challenge that we have, that there's a huge gap has grown between the 1%ers, the wealthy folks who have much of the wealth, and the rest of everyone. There is this gap, and a big gap like this is not good for any society. Initially, I was going to make a painting about that gap, but then I read some things that came out of the Department of Defense, National Security Agency, about an even bigger picture. The gap around the world between the very poor, people who make $2 a day, and the rest of us who have something, that gap is becoming bigger and bigger, and the number of people in the poor category is going up by 1 billion people. And soon, what's going to happen is the poor will surround Europe and other areas. And if we have people breaking in over the borders right now and disrupting our society, what is going to happen later on down the years is going to be so great, it's going to challenge, threaten actual societies, governments. So I decided to make a provocative painting called The Poor Closing the Gucci Gap. And that's that painting. And I'm sending a message that if the people who are in power and have money, they better think about trying to help to prevent what can happen is, the poor just charging all over the place and getting whatever they need.
Okay, we've got one more painting to take a look at.
So
there it is. We're
okay,
on camera.
so that was inspired by my belief, and there's probably 99 scientists for every one scientist in the world who would disagree with this statement. Climate change is happening. Climate change is going to be significant. The North Pole is already melted and gone, and that's all fine. But what happens is when the climate changes, we as human beings, as well as the rest of the environment, we have to adapt to it. It's going to get hotter in places, colder in places. Water's going to flow in different places. It's not going to flow. The dams we built are not going to be in where we need them. We are going to be spending a tremendous amount of energy and money and resources as we go forward to adapt to the changes in the climate. And I made this painting to try to help everyone become informed that we have to think about what we do now, how much emissions, greenhouse gases we put up in the air, our development, our transportation, everything, because what are we going to leave behind for our grandchildren? We're going to leave behind for them a mess, a truly mess. So I made this painting, and with this particular painting, I sort of have an equilibrium, and an oil drop is about to drop, and when that drops, down comes baby and becomes just truly a mess.
Okay, we've just gone into a major areas. That's what you're talking about. If my count is right, you have 11 or 12 more to go to complete the 15. What's the sense of you doing this? How do you feel this is going to help the world, the economy? What's the impact that you're out to make?
Okay. I want to say I tend to think I'm a small person, and I'm doing my best, and I'm doing this. Aristotle told us there's only 3 ways to persuade people, to inform people, and one of them is to appeal to their logic, and there's the Stanfords, there's thousands and thousands of organizations who are appealing to everyone's logic, that we have got to be aware of the new challenges that are coming. We need to act now. I'm making art. Art appeals to the emotion, and Aristotle said that is the second way. I am making art, and what I'm doing is I'm leveraging it. I'm making it available to NASA. If the state follows through and takes my pay, I'm giving it to the state to bring attention to their good ideas. I'm giving it to the county, and all these organizations, well, several have already taken my art, and they have events, and my art helps bring the people in, and when the people come in, they see it. It just
so it's a stimulation. You're trying to stimulate conversation, discussion,
yes,
awareness, just to talk generally about, oh yeah, we've got all these problems. Addressing these problems directly is absolutely critical.
Yes, but I want to say is I'm not personally doing the discussion. I just lent my 24-foot painting to Stanford, and they had a energy conference where they brought in 2 former secretaries of state, and my 24-foot painting was there, and everybody saw it, and they started talking and thinking, and I leave it to the Stanford people and all their folks to do the discussion.
So it's that stimulation, that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
We're down to about a minute where I'm going to share with you. Is there anything else that you'd like to cover?
No, well, I'd love to talk about the other. I want to say I've already, of the 15, I've made at least 1 painting on 11 of the different major developments of the set I have selected. And in some cases, I made 3 or 4 paintings. And I'm just moving along, and I'm having a ball. And I'm honored by all these great organizations that are approaching me and utilizing my work. And I feel good that I can have somewhat of an influence.
It sounds like you're just getting started, Michael. But you are.